And welcome back to Russell Street Replay. I'm your host, Nikhil Mehta, and with me, as always, is Ronald Tooth. Ron, would you like to introduce our special guest for this episode?
Yeah, for sure. Big episode, obviously, our first one here on YouTube, so everybody can kind of see what we got going on here. And it's only fitting that for our first YouTube episode, we have an actual Ravens player with us here, one who's having some camera issues at the moment.
Yeah, I know, man.
But we have a former Fort Valley State wide receiver and current undrafted free agent Baltimore Ravens, Shemar Bridges here. Shemar, how's it going, man?
It's going good. How y'all doing? Appreciate y'all for having me, first of all. But hope everything's going good with y'all, man. It's blessed to be here.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Everything's been really good, and it's great to have you aboard, honestly. I remember when we drafted you, I shot you the DM. I was like, man, it's so great to have you here. So,
awesome. Yeah, definitely. I appreciate that for sure.
No doubt. So I wanted to kind of start things off with I saw you do an interview a few days ago where you talked about the Legacy Bowl and how it really gave a lot of you guys sort of an opportunity to be seen by scouts as players and as people. I guess I was just kind of wondering, that day, did you sort of have any indication that the Ravens might have been interested in you? You know, like, did you really hit it off with the scouts, anything like that, or was the call from Baltimore sort of out of the blue?
Nah, really one of the teams I did talk to at the Legacy Bowl was Baltimore Scout. One of the guys that really pushed for me to get, to kind of get me there. And so we kind of built from that relationship at the Legacy Bowl, meeting him, talking to him. And then it furthered on, and then right around the draft time, that's when we hit back, and we kind of picked back up where we was at. So it kind of like that's where the relationship developed, and then like closer to draft, that's why I started figuring out the Ravens were really interested. So it kind of it was kind of something that started, and then it really picked up at the end. So yeah,
cool. So just I guess kind of just going right into minicamp here. Obviously, this past weekend, you had a chance to go to Owings Mills, get on the practice fields. How was that? And was it kind of a culture shock going from a Division II program to, walking into one of the most advanced facilities in the league?
Yeah, so it was great. I had a good time. First of all, I just enjoyed just being in the NFL, practicing. I feel like I performed pretty well, and just picking up on the terminology and understanding what the coaches want out of us and how they want the offense and stuff like that. And then, of course, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a little culture shock, just going from Division II to having anything you want, drink, food, treatment, indoor practice facility. And then, like you said, it is definitely top tier class organization. Like just being in there compared to, even like some other teams, like, man, all the locker room and everything is just beautiful. So it was amazing, but I wouldn't say like a shock in a bad way. It was just like a dang, I'm here. Like, so I'm gonna enjoy it, and it was a blessing. I loved it.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like you arrived when you first walked into the castle.
Yeah, definitely. I was like, it is like a castle. I guess that's what it, because when we pulled up, I was like, dang, this is a facility. Like, it's crazy. And then I was like, wow, this is amazing. It just made me like. It kind of gave me a little emotional moment because I know I went through a lot to get here, and it was just like, man, regardless, I'm just going to enjoy it, have fun, and go hard. And I'm here, just try to take advantage of my opportunities.
And so, how was your initial experience with rookie minicamp? The Ravens signed a few big body receivers. Obviously, you're one of them, and they have a reputation for really caring about blocking and special teams. So, how do you plan to stand out among the receivers they've already signed?
Just lock in special teams, lock in on those things, like you said, do the dirty work, be willing to do the dirty work. I know that, like I said, that's what's going to take. And I want to be with the Ravens. I want to just be I want to be in the league, but of course I want to be with the Ravens. So whatever it takes to stay, that's what I'm going to do. So just lock in with the special team coach, lock in on playing that, and do whatever the team needs, and being mentally, available and strong enough to pick up on the offense in any way that they could use me. Availability is the best, in the league, whether it's health or just being able to understand the offense. So just being able to, come in there, try to pick up as fast as I can, and be willing to do everything that isn't glorified, like other than the catching and stuff, all the other dirty work. I'm willing to do it. So that's what I'm trying to do to stay here. So, yeah.
Nice. Love that attitude. I'm sure a lot of the fans love to hear that too.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. So I was kind of wondering, and I promise this isn't a loaded question because I know everyone gets asked this, and then you see the quote, so and so is the next so and so. But
Right.
if you could sort of like, is there any player that you really sort of modeled your game after coming up, or a guy that you really kind of, you know, strive to be? Now, of course, you strive to be yourself, but just in terms of on the field, is there anyone who really influenced you?
Yeah, I mean, like I like to pick up games like a game like Mike Evans, you know, big guy, can run, make big plays. I love a lot Keenan Allen. I love watching Brandon Marshall. There's a lot of guys that are technique sound, big. You know, Brandon Marshall run at the catch type of guy. So I really like to pick up on everybody. You know what I mean? And like Jerry Rice is an inspiration for me, because him coming from an HBCU and being, greatest receiver. So I just like to watch from everybody, but of course I like to pick up on the big receivers that kind of are similar to my game. And then when I get there around the vets, I'm trying to pick up on all them that's been there before me. Just anything I feel like I can pick up on anybody, defensive wise, all that. Just try to pick everybody's brain, so I could just try to be the best me and try to, I guess get all the potential out of me that I can. So yeah.
So speaking of kind of picking people's brain, this is something that's been a topic of conversation among the Ravens fans for a while. Their new wide receiver coaches, pass game coordinator T. Martin and Keith Williams. What was kind of your early experience with them in minicamp?
Oh, it was great. It was real great. I've already had talked to Coach T. Martin right before the draft, and then I got to really meet him in person when I got there. And man, he's a great dude, really cool guy. He just really helps simplify the pass game and the terminology and really all the coaches. And I got like a great vibe from them. Just that little time there at Ricky Meat Camp. You know, they treat you like pros, and just being there with those guys, they try to just help. They just try to help, like, the terminology and simplify it so you can understand it. And they definitely, I enjoy being around them. And I think it's gonna be a good time. I'll be able to play for them.
Yeah, they seem like they have a lot of interesting drills and kind of different ways of doing things than you see kind of traditionally.
Right.
Kind of going back to your college experience a little bit, what was kind of if you could pick out one or maybe a couple of your favorite moments, favorite plays in college?
Some of my favorite moments was like when we played first game of the season, we played Tuskegee on ESPN and that was a big game, just being on TV like that. I made some good plays, a touchdown, a big catch over the middle. So that was big. I feel like after the COVID 2021, we had like a small like spring season. We played like 2 games. And the first game we came out, the very first play since we played since 2019, I had like a drag and I took it like 60 yards. So that was real memorable because we just went through a whole time with no season, not knowing who was going to play. And then I think my third, I would say, is my first touchdown in my first game at Fort Valley. It was a home game. I had a fade route in the right corner end zone. So definitely those are some I would never forget. There's plenty of them, but if I had to narrow it down, I'd probably narrow it to those 3 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine how satisfying that drag taking it to the house right after
Man.
COVID must have been.
Yeah.
That must have been crazy.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah. I didn't take it to the house. I was real close. I don't even want to lie here. I don't want to lie. It was close, but it was. I took it to like under the 15, under the 10. So like the next 2 plays we wouldn't score, but it was like that's how I did feel like being gone from football from 2019 and the 2020 season got canceled. Small school, we didn't have the funds to do the testing and do all that stuff. And then we came back to 2021 season, the very first play, we like, nah, you gonna start it off. And it was that feeling like I'm here, you know what I mean? And I'm not going nowhere. And I'm just, from that game on, it was just like I felt like a even better player. And that was like a great feeling. So yeah.
Nice. And while we're talking about your college career here, I guess I was just kind of thinking, like, do you feel any sort of pressure as, a D2 undrafted guy coming in to sort of like show out and show that, these D2 guys do deserve a chance in the league and that they can compete with the best?
Nah, I don't really I don't feel like as much. To me personally, I feel like if it's pressure, it's not on about that. It's pressure as far as like I want to make everybody at my school proud. I want to make my family proud. That type of pressure, because I know I come from a situation in my school where I'm the only one in a minute that's gone to the league, and I don't, it's not like a bunch of people. Like I'm the only one like in Fort Valley like that's holding it down right now. So that type of pressure, I want to make them proud. But as far as like that, like what you asked, nah, because it's like I feel like I come in with the less the less pressure, or I feel like I come in with a chip on my shoulder for me, but I feel like I come in with a what I have to lose mentality. And it's not like because I have everything to lose. You know, this is my career, and I want to play for as many years as I can play. I want to play for. If I could play 20 years, I play. I love football. I just love football. I don't care about money and fame. I just love football. However, though, just being honest, you know, I'm realistic. From the outside world is going to believe I'm gonna be the one that's going. You know what I mean? They're going to obviously gonna, you know, probably put me towards the last just because of the school I come from. So that puts that chip on my shoulder. Is like, I feel like the most dangerous person there is somebody that feel like, you know, nobody believes in them, and, you know, has that like, I guess, like not nothing to lose mentality. So I'm coming in there like, man, look, I done proved everybody wrong. Get here. I know a lot of people maybe people might not think I'm gonna go too far from this, but I do, and I'm just gonna, you know, work and just let everything work out. But regardless what happens, like I'm blessed. I'm just thankful. So I don't know. It's like it's pressure, but it's not really like just a ton of pressure. Like, you know, like you have somebody that's coming from a situation where they're the first round draft pick. Everybody's looking to, you know, but for me, nobody don't look to me to be the guy that's going, you know, not saying like the coaches don't, but like the fans and stuff. So now I'm just like, well, I'm for to prove it. And so that's my mentality coming into it. But I have my own pressure on myself, but I don't feel like from the outside world now as much.
Nice. So when I was doing a little bit of research on you, I saw that you are from Jacksonville, Florida, correct?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So, well, as we all know, there's another pretty notable Raven who also is proud to show off his Florida roots. I was just wondering if you'd had a chance to chat with Lamar Jackson at all yet, or exchange a text, a DM, anything like that.
Nah, I haven't. I haven't been able to, but I definitely can't wait to beat him. Just because, like, you know, he's a Florida legend. So it's like all my friends be like, man, you play with Lamar Jackson, you gonna be with Lamar Jackson. That's all I hear from everybody back home. You know what I'm saying? It is crazy, you know what I mean? But I haven't really done that. I kind of just want to meet him like in a good working environment, and just, you know, get to know him like that, man. And, you know, just pick his brain and learn from him, and, you know, and just whatever happens, you know, as a friendship, it happened naturally. But that's why I feel like with him, I feel like with people like a lot of people that's in that locker room. You know, I'm from Jacksonville, so I'm very aware of Calais Campbell, who played with the Jaguars for some years. That's somebody I definitely look to. That's like he's a great leader, great dude. I want to pick his brain too, just not only just on and off the field. So not only just Lamar, but everybody, but definitely like I want to come there and just, you know, learn from him and watch him work. He's a great player. Like some of the stuff he does is amazing. So I just can't wait to see it in person.
Was Lamar Jackson potentially getting a chance to play with him? Did that play any factor in your decision in signing with Baltimore, or was it more just I like the team, the organization, and I want to play here?
Nah, that didn't really play a factor. I think it was just like you said, the team and the organization, the relationship I built with Coach T. Martin. Like, just, you know, we had one call and a couple other scouts I had developed with. I just felt like this is a great organization with great coaches and just a great history, man. Like when you walk in the halls, you see Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and all these guys on the wall, and I'm like, dang, I'm here playing at the same team they played at, you know. So it's like it's an honor. But of course, after I signed, I was like, dang, like Lamar Jackson's the quarterback. Like, I was like, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't really click. I'm like, that's wild, you know. And I'm not really coming from a situation where, you know, I'm Division I and I'm used to playing with guys that's first round draft picks is normal. Like I came from Fort Valley State, like 3,000 like students. Like, so I'm like, dang, you know, Lamar Jackson, my quarterback, that's amazing. That's crazy. So I didn't really think about it till after, because I was just so focused on my own situation. And then when I did it, I was like, wow, this is crazy. So yeah.
And, you know, kind of talking about coming in and joining all the rest of the rookie class, you know, what have some of those experiences been? Have you gotten the chance to kind of get a chance to know some of the other guys that have joined the team? You know, tell us about that experience. Is it like very competitive? Is it a very competitive atmosphere, or is it a more collaborative one?
It's been both. Like, you know, it's been competitive and collaborative. Like, we're competing against each other, but we know, like, you know, we collabing, like we helping each other out. And then, you know, at the same time, like we are teammates right now, but we are competing for a spot at the same time. So it's both. But like, including with the fellow receivers I came in with, like all those I got, like we all became real cool, even just within this weekend and just doing stuff together. But we know at the end of the day, like we're all competing. And that's just friendly competition. You know, I wouldn't do nothing like to sabotage them, nothing like that. You know, like I got like, you know, nothing, but they cool. Like the time I met them, it was cool, good vibes. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we're all competing to be the best. Nothing wrong with that. Like, and whatever happens, like we can shake it off. Like, man, like whoever best man win. You know. But it's definitely been cool coming in there and I think that would make me even more comfortable coming in and see how cool and nice and like welcoming people were, rookies and people that's already been there. So that just made my experience there even smoother.
Nice. So speaking of the experience in well, it was Owings Mills this weekend, will be Baltimore. Did you get a chance to explore the area at all, or was it very kind of work based this week?
Yeah, it was all work based. We really just stayed near like the facility and just worked and stuff. It was really just like a camp, meetings and stuff like that. So it was great. I loved it. I learned a ton in those days and really just got to see and figure out the ins and outs around the facility and stuff like that, man. And it was just good just to get to work and really just what it is to be a Raven, like a little dose of it. And so I enjoyed it, man. And like I said, just from the coaches, from everybody that's there, very welcoming and like definitely a class A1, like facility A1, just organization. Everybody's definitely just about their business, about winning and the culture. So it was cool.
Is there anything in the city that you are looking forward to doing? Maybe grabbing a crab cake, something like that.
Yeah, I don't even know nothing about Baltimore, so that's why I don't know.
Really?
I've never been there. I've never been like nowhere up north. I've never been like I like it's like I was in Baltimore, but it really was like I was there because all we was going from was a facility back to the hotel, So I didn't get to see nothing really but some trees and stuff. So like I don't even know really what's going on up there, but I would say I just want to go see what it looks like. Like I'm from Florida, like everything is so much different from where I'm from. And so I would just love to see what the city's like and just search around what is Baltimore. So that's gonna be my cool experience. I feel like just searching the world, and just looking and find new things.
We'll tell you the hot spots. Don't worry.
Yeah, I've got plenty. I've got plenty of restaurant recommendations too.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it.
So one kind of fun question I'm always curious about: if you didn't play wide receiver, what position do you think you'd play?
Safety. DB, definitely.
Did you play defensive back, safety in high school or any of your previous college career?
No, not in college, but a little bit in high school, a little bit when I was young. But I definitely played DB. My pops. Well, crazy story. I'll just probably put on. I mean, it's kind of been kind of floating around. But my pops played for the Ravens. Back when like in 2001, he had a short little stint with the Ravens. He named Davian Swain. He played receiver for Ravens right after the Ravens won the Super Bowl, and he came from Alabama State. And so he's my stepdad, but I call him like my pops, like my dad, too at the same time. And he's trained me my whole life, and he trained me receiver and DB stuff. So with that being said, like I always knew if receiver didn't work out, I had to do DB. So I feel like if I wasn't playing receiver, I could definitely play DB.
Nice.
So, yeah.
And that must be pretty cool to put on the same team jersey as your pops. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
How did that feel for the first time?
It was super weird just because of like I said, my whole life he's always told me because he went to the Ravens, he bounced around CFL and Arena, just different teams, bouncing around but my whole life I've always heard the stories about he played on the Ravens, that he had little pieces on Hard Knocks back then in 2001, so I've seen it. So it was just like my whole life, he's been talking about this and just groomed me for this moment, for what I'm gonna go through right now. And then like when it got close to time, I remember him telling him, I'm like, the Ravens been showing a lot of love. It would be crazy if I go to the same team as you. You know what I mean? Like, and then you did. That's creepy. And then I ended up going. It was like, that was real creepy. Like he had a real emotional moment. Like I've never seen him really cry for her, and that's what he did. And it was just like I guess it's just like I don't know. God just does things. You know what I'm saying? And just like I'm here, at the same spot he was like 20-some years ago. So it's kind of crazy. And but he was definitely just to put it on, and I sent him a picture of the jersey and everything, and being the jersey, he was definitely like just proud of me, man. So yeah,
nice.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Just while we're kind of wrapping up here, just a bit of a hard right question. So we've talked a lot about what you do on the field and all that.
Yeah.
What do you like to do off the field? We'll say a day off, no practice, nothing going on. What does Shemar like to do?
I just like I really like to chill. I'm not really too much just to do that crazy. Like I either like get on YouTube, HBO Max, Netflix, just chill with friends, hang out. Probably tomorrow, like, cause now I'm right back. I'm in Jacksonville right now before we have to go back to Baltimore this weekend. But like, just do stuff with friends, like go to Top Golf or we have like a hockey team in the city, so we go to a game or just do something like that. I don't like to do nothing too crazy. Just kind of like just do some fun stuff that's that that means something, that's memorable. But on the time, if I'm just resting my body, I'll just probably kick up, chill, watch TV, maybe play the game a little bit. But I haven't really played the game that much often. So
I
yeah.
love Top Golf, and now that you mentioned, I got to ask, any movies or TV shows that you've seen lately that you really like?
So right now I've been heavy on the if y'all are on HBO Max, The Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers
Oh
dynasty.
yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I right before this podcast, I just literally just finished the most recent episode. I love that because I'm a big Laker fan. So I watched that. Any other shows, like probably, I don't know, anything with sports, anything with football, I'll watch it. So I'm always ready for like the Last Chance U stuff and all those different type of shows. Yeah, so I'm always into that. So really anything like that, but a lot of times I just find myself just either watching podcasts like this or anything. So yeah.
Nice. What's the best football movie of all time, and why is it Remember the Titans?
It was definitely about to be Remember the Titans. You're right. You got my answer.
Yes.
It's Remember the Titans. It's Remember the Titans. That's just a movie that it's self-explanatory. I mean, it's just a beautiful movie where you see people coming from different backgrounds coming together, and I think that just speaks volumes of what football is. Like, you got basketball, you could be real individual. Baseball, you could be kind of individual. Tennis, but soccer is team. But football, you have to have all 11 to come together to win. And I think that's what makes football so great, and I think the best sport is because it takes everybody. If one person messes their job, mess everything up. And so that's why I feel like Remember Titans, it just shows like brotherhood and being together, including in that time when things are so different. You've seen people from different races come together. I think it was amazing. And it has comedy in it and all. So that's definitely one of my top 3 movies of all time.
All-time Denzel performance, all time.
Oh yeah, great. It's a great movie.
Love it. So so our last question for you. For our fans, the more casual ones who may not be familiar with an undrafted free agent wide receiver, if you could just sum yourself up to those fans in 1 or 2 sentences so that they completely know you, what would that
be? 2 sentences of me?
Yeah, just for the casual fan who might not be aware of Shemar Bridges.
Shemar Bridges is just residing out of Jacksonville, Florida, out of Fort Valley State University, small Division II, and just trying to find my way in my career, just trying to help the Ravens win in any way possible and just make my way on this team, doing everything it takes, doing the dirty work, the special teams, whatever it is. And hopefully over time doing that, I can, move into a role where I can be able to put up numbers and do great things at wide receiver. But whatever that is and whatever that time may be, and maybe that doesn't come, whatever I got to do to help the team win, and, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just here to do that. And I got a big chip on my shoulder just to prove everybody that I'm deserving of being in the league. And that's what I'm here to do. And I'm just a team player. I'm just here to also enjoy my time, and have fun. I think I don't want to look back and be like, dang, I didn't have fun. I didn't enjoy it. I was so stressed out by everything. Like, no, I'm going to enjoy this. I'm in with the 1% of the country to get this shot to play this great game in a great organization. So I'm just having fun and go do and give everybody, my all. So yeah.
We definitely love to hear that. Thank you so much for coming on our podcast today. It's been such a pleasure to have you, and best of luck with the rest of training camp and rest of this summer with the Ravens. We're excited to see, more highlights of you coming out of camp and preseason games, all that stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all for having me. Thank you.
Thanks, Shemar.
So that was a fantastic interview with Shemar Bridges. I really, really enjoyed that, and I love his attitude, and I know a lot of the other fans will too. He seems like he knows what he's kind of in for in terms of what the Ravens, the coaching staff usually demands out of their players. But I also love just he wants to have fun, and I think he knows that this is an organization you can kind of do both with. They like enjoying themselves, having a good time, and working on football, and he seems to be really excited about both those things.
Yeah, he's definitely got that undrafted free agent mindset. You know what I mean? It definitely seems like he's ready to grind and work hard and really do all the things that you want to see from a guy that you sign after the draft. So good things to see. And it goes without saying that we are all hoping nothing but the best for him and that he's a Raven for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. So moving on to some of the other recent topics that we have in the Ravens, just today, we're recording this on May 10th, and just today the Ravens signed former Atlanta Falcons and Carolina Panthers and a couple other teams running back Mike Davis, and withdrew their offer, their tender for Tyson Williams. So it's the end of the Tyson Williams era in Baltimore. I know it's a very sad day. Ron, what are your initial thoughts on this running back switch up and I guess the general state of the Ravens backfield right now?
Well, when we look at how Tyson was used throughout the year, it's not surprising that this was ultimately the move to ship him off to greener pastures, I guess we'll say. The Mike Davis move, it doesn't surprise me as much as a lot of people. It seems for a while now that they might not be totally confident in the fact that both J.K. and Gus will be 100% for week one. So bringing in a veteran like a Mike Davis, who might have a little more juice than somebody like Devontae Freeman, as much as we love him, or Le'Veon Bell, guys like that, it's not surprising to me, and it also wouldn't be surprising to me if we saw him get a pretty substantial portion of the workload in the early part of the year, especially.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd quite go that far. I mean, as it seems like Dobbins and Edwards' recovery is going pretty well. And again, I don't think it's necessarily there's been a setback or anything. But I mean, I do agree. It's just more insurance. You want to have the extra depth early. Now they have a really healthy competition for running back in the preseason between Justice Hill, Tyler. Is it Batty or Beatty?
I believe it's Beatty.
Okay, I just don't want to sound like an idiot and say Batty. So ideally, though, a pretty good competition between Justice Hill, Tyler Batty, and Mike Davis for what should be 2 running back spots. I actually kind of expect them to add at least 1 or 2 more at some point. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what the numbers are on the roster right now. I mean, even bringing Freeman back to see how he's looking this year, and if he managed to, not lose anything with another year, not lose anything, but him versus Mike Davis as your vet in the room. Which one do you want? Hill, it depends on how he recovered from his Achilles, but again, he's got that special teams that they like. They like him in pass pro. I think Beatty's real. I mean, I really like Beatty as a pick. I've been watching a lot more of his film and just seeing a good third running back, a guy that you can give the ball to and, not be super, maybe he's going to break off 1 or 2, but in general can just kind of do the things you want and also can catch the ball really well out of the backfield. I think that's the thing I'm really excited about him for. So it's a fine switch up to the backfield. Williams was going to probably be gone anyway. It didn't really seem like the coaching staff, trusted him at a certain point last season. So
yeah. The first, or was it the first or the second? I think it was the first. Whatever the Cincinnati game was at the end of that one, I think that kind of really sealed his fate in the coaching staff side.
Yeah, and it seemed like, he was playing some snaps on special teams, but he wasn't popping. Not the way like a guy like Jalen Ferguson actually popped on special teams quite a few times last year. And I think that was part of the reason, along with injuries, but part of the reason why he was getting more snaps by the end of the season. And I didn't hate him. He, like, as far as like a backup outside linebacker hybrid defensive end, he's not bad, especially when he can pop on special teams like that. But when Williams isn't contributing in the passing game, isn't contributing on special teams, it's tough to keep him in. Speaking of the passing game, can Jarvis Landry just hurry up and sign in Baltimore? It just seems like this should happen. We're waiting for this to happen. I don't know if I would imagine it has to do with the Ravens having to figure out a bunch of contracts at once, signing all the rookies, having to account for 2 first-round draft picks and kind of clear all that space. But it just seems like a move that is going to happen. So we should make it happen. Are there any other receivers out there on the market that you would even want other than Landry? I think Landry's probably my number 1 preferred wideout. I know some people have said, the Julio train the Julio train will never stop. The Julio Jones to Baltimore train will never stop. But to me, the other options like, Will Fuller, T.Y. Hilton, I know Landry was injured last year, but other than that, he's played every game in his career so far. So I think I'd rather have him than guys who just seem to be older and just a little bit more fragile at this point, honestly.
Yeah, Landry's definitely the number 1 choice, especially when you look at just he very much kind of fits that mold of obviously he's not as good as like a Bolden was or a Derek Mason, guys like that, but he really feels like the one that kind of fits that classic Ravens wide receiver sort of signing. You know what I mean?
I mean, I gotta be honest. I'm looking up right now how old Anquan Boldin was when he came to the Ravens. Because Landry's got a lot of talent. Like, I don't know if like his career projects as Boldin. But I also think that, Boldin was 30 when he came to the Ravens. I think Landry could put up some, and he put up 800, 900. And then he went back to San Francisco. He went to San Francisco and had a couple 1,000-yard seasons. He was 33 and 34, which is still crazy to me. So he is in a tier above, but I could see Landry coming in and putting up 900 yards in Baltimore in a full season. I could just, as a number 2 receiver in an offense that still is going to pass the ball quite a bit. They passed the ball a lot more last year. So I just think it just makes too much sense. He fits the ethos. He's a good blocker, all that stuff.
And then obviously it sort of seems like things didn't really end ideally in Cleveland. So he's also got that chip on his shoulder now. Why not go to a team that gets to play him twice a year?
Yeah, I was seeing those reports today about how they pretty much only were willing to offer him the veteran minimum plus incentives. And I mean, I don't know how he's going to get that much more in Baltimore. Although, again, I wouldn't hate like a 2-year deal with him because he is a good receiver. I still think he's kind of underrated, honestly. So hopefully that'll works out for the Ravens. If not, it's going to be, someone's going to have to emerge from the pack, whether it's, one of the guys already on the roster, one of the undrafted guys.
Don't overlook the prospects of them going out and just signing like Emmanuel Sanders too. You know what I mean? That's what.
Yeah, but like, what is that? Like, what does that do? I don't know what that does for the offense. Like,
I'm not saying that I support it. I'm just saying that feels like the move they would make.
He's just like,
I'd love to go out and go get Odell, but I don't think that's possible at this point. Fuller, Fuller is such a weird case because he's definitely got the highest ceiling out of all the guys outside of maybe Odell as it stands now of all the guys in the market. I mean, we've seen him have elite, beyond elite performances. It's just a matter of staying on the field.
Yeah, and the trouble is like, there's debates about what is injury prone and is that a real thing? And it's just not. I think there's higher risk, and it's just risk I don't want to take with a guy like Hilton where, if you're counting on him or Fuller to be like a consistent second wide receiver and, let Tylan Wallace and James Proche work out of the slot more, and then all of a sudden they just keep getting injured. Well, shoot, why'd you even sign him? So I just think Landry's the option, and it just seems like it'll happen unless he really doesn't want to sign here for some reason.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not Deshaun Jackson. I saw somebody mention that the other day on Twitter and my head almost exploded.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, again, it's the kind of thing you wouldn't necessarily rule out them doing. I mean, they signed Mike Wallace, got a bunch of production out of him randomly too. So I don't know. The one thing is you never really know. Wide receivers can sometimes just kind of pop off. I mean, Will Fuller could come back, have a 17-game, 1,000-yard season. Like it's, so I'm very curious to see where they go. Some of the other kind of early reports out of training camp, apparently Hamilton has been really looking good, although that's not surprising. Travis Jones as well. They just got a lot of big dudes flying around catching footballs, whether it's Kolar and Likely, all the wide receivers. It just seems like that's a huge focus for them in camp. What are some of the other things that you've heard out of camp? What are some of the things you're kind of your reactions to them?
Well, the big thing for me was when we saw the little video the other day of Kyle Hamilton wearing the green dot on his helmet. That to me signified a lot. And I'm not going to read too much into it because at the end of the day, it was during the rookies portion of camp. So he's not surrounded by the guys that he's going to be surrounded with come, June and August when they really start getting into the nitty gritty of things. But at the very least, it shows me that, and I shouldn't say shows me because it really feels like it was obvious when they drafted him, but they eventually plan on him being sort of the quarterback of the defense, throwing that green dot on him week one of camp really just kind of bolsters that and says, okay, they think that they have their future, signal caller on the defense really going forward for potentially the next, 5-10 years, who knows?
Yeah, I'm sure that's probably in the thinking somewhere. I mean, part of it also there's literally no one else in the rookie camp who could have possibly worn the green dot on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, all the linebackers were undrafted guys. You don't really want to put on a corner. I guess Demarion Williams is a slot corner, like maybe, but again, he was, a 4th-round pick. Hamilton's the guy. I am curious to see if they like mix it up at all during the season, because I know they have done that in the past, but it's got to be a guy who's on the field 100% of the plays. And I don't know which guy on this team is on the field 100% of the plays right now, other than Marlon Humphrey once he's fully healthy and Marcus Williams. Other than that, I don't know who plays every snap. And I could see it being Williams. But if they're planning to play Hamilton pretty much every snap as a rookie, which I wouldn't be surprised by, and potentially more than they're going to play Clark, they're not going to play Clark every snap, then they might give the dot to they'd have to give it to Hamilton at that point, which I wouldn't hate. I really want to see what happens with Clark, Hamilton, and Marcus Williams this year, because I think Clark getting the chance to play a different role helps the Ravens in a lot of ways. And I don't know. I think he's one of the guys that's better in Baltimore than he will be most other places. I think New York with Wink, he probably, would do pretty well knowing that defense really well. But I don't know if he succeeds as much elsewhere.
Yeah, who knows? I am starting to become more in the camp of I don't think Chuck is going to be here in September. I think that they're going to figure something out, and they're going to, do a move that benefits both sides, that really gives him a chance to get the playing time that he probably deserves, and kind of gives them a little bit of a return on investment, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Like, he was already putting up cryptic tweets the other day. For all we know, it could have been about, something completely different that we have no clue what it is. But I don't know, just the way it's all sort of aligned, it's starting to feel like he won't be here in September. And I hope I'm wrong. I want as much depth back there as possible, but especially with Stevens too, it's starting to feel like an abundance of riches. And if you can go flip him for a guy on the offensive side of the ball who can help you this year, why not?
Yeah, and I also think you don't want to trade guys away just because of a guy you drafted, but you're ready to, if he comes in and he's like, hey, this isn't working for me, the Ravens have always been the type to accommodate. But I do think they are going to try. I'd be surprised, honestly. I actually would kind of be surprised. His connection to the organization seems pretty strong. And, I don't know. Do you really want, I don't know if I'm really super happy with Tony Jefferson, Geno Stone as kind of the backup safeties, because again, injuries are a thing. And I think having Clark to operate in a lot of dime packages and have him and Hamilton both have that ability to play downhill in the box. I just think that helps the Ravens disguise a lot of their coverages and things like that they're planning to do this season. So I don't know. I actually think my instinct is that Clark stays in Baltimore this year and maybe leaves next offseason when the Ravens are ready to kind of fully hand the reins over to Kyle Hamilton and kind of a bit of a new look defense. I think the transformation will be more complete next year.
So then do you think Stevens stays do you think he goes to corner then? Back to corner?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much what Harbaugh has said, that Stevens is probably going to go back to corner. And I think, again, the Ravens are seeing this kind of a longer conversation about kind of defense in the NFL and how the Ravens are seeing it. But one thing they're understanding is, one, you want versatility, guys that can do a bunch of things from a bunch of different alignments. That's something they've always prioritized in their front seven, but you're seeing it more, a higher priority in their secondary now. Stevens, Chuck Clark, Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey are all guys that can play 2 or 3 different roles. And I think that kind of signals that they're looking to have better answers to, like, the Bengals, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Tyler Boyd, than just, we have 3 cornerbacks who can match up with you. Because it's not just covering them, it's also deceiving Burrow and getting pressure on him and, not making it easy to just, pick apart man or zone. I think they just want to look for a lot more flexibility, a lot of different matchup looks, and create a very multiple defense, basically. So, again, that's just kind of my speculation, but just based on their roster moves and how the roster looks as it is, what McDonald did at Michigan, I just think that they want to be able to come out with something that's going to maybe be a little bit more traditional in the amount it drops back, less aggressive in terms of blitzing, but I think a lot more deception and kind of more, to kind of bring a basketball term into it, a little bit more switchable. Have Stevens and Humphrey be able to move in and out of the slot, Clark and Hamilton drop down there into the box, because tight ends and slot guys are, they burn the Ravens as much as guys on the outside do. So it's something they need to be, I think, aware of. And I think they are. I think that's why they want to have that flexibility. So,
yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, anything else to add? I guess we're really just kind of gearing up for the rest of training camp here. This is really the dead period after draft season. I know we have a couple more post-draft episodes planned, kind of looking more towards future team building. But beyond that, we're waiting for training camp and the preseason to get here.
Yeah, that's pretty much the point we're at. I'm excited to spend some more time hiking in the woods over the next couple weeks to month, we'll say, while things just sort of die down. Hopefully we'll be able to have more guests on going forward leading into the season like we did with Shemar. Obviously, some more of our incredible Russell Street Report co-hosts will be, coming on and chatting with us a little bit. But besides from that, yeah, it's starting to get to that really dead time of year.
Yeah, so thanks so much as always for joining me, Ron, and thanks for everyone for tuning in.